Hi, I'm Andre and I'm a black nerd with a review for you, Better Reviews. Mad Max Fury Road. I'm gonna tell you the good, I'm gonna tell you the bad, I'm gonna tell you the nerdy. Plot of Mad Max Fury Road. Mad Max and Furiosa are Mr. and Miss Still Your Girls. Best synopsis ever. This will be pretty much spoiler free. I might hit a couple of plot points, but I won't give any major things away. Promise. First, the good. This movie is action packed. It starts off with action. You get like maybe 2 scenes where people just sit around and talk, and the rest of the time you are on the Fury Road. You are seeing fights, you are seeing cars, you're seeing explosions, good stunts, and practical effects. Yes, you're gonna get that big CGI scene with the tornado. I've got no problem with CGI fights. I got no problems with characters fighting multiple robots or creatures or whatever else, but sometimes you lose a little bit of the gravitas with it. You start feeling like you're watching a cartoon. With this, the whole time I'm watching the movie just going, did that really get hurt? Once you have a giant truck with speakers on it and a dude playing guitar with a mask on his face and the guitar is spitting fire, and you accept that, you know you're in the right place. Just imagine if like Fast and Furious had a nuclear explosion, Fallout in Borderlands, or that Tupac, Dr. Dre, California video, which of course was inspired by Mad Max. That is what this world is, and I love it. And even with the action scenes, they're not all crazy in your face. Some are just very simplified action, but still just good. It's such a good movie. There's not a lot of dialogue in this, and yet you can still follow the story. The actions and the emotions of people really speak for themselves. You get a little prologue, a little voiceover, Max knows a cop, blah, 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 blah. Other than that, you just figure stuff out just from the way people are, and that's cool. Even with it being based on a franchise, especially one from 30 years ago, it's a self-contained story. Yeah, you can make a sequel out of it, and trust me, I'm sure they're gonna try. Whether we get or not get another Mad Max, this is a beginning, middle, and end here. There's no random scene thrown in to set up some other movie. There's no random character that we see for 5 minutes because they're gonna show up as a major character later, or maybe, who knows, somebody out of this might get their own movie, I'm just saying. Charlize Theron as Furiosa is freaking amazing in this film. She fights, she's badass, she's so great. Now, I know there's been some criticism that people are like, is this a Mad Max film? Because I'm pretty much seeing Furiosa a lot. There's one part of the movie where he's not heavily involved for a reason, but once he is there the entire time. It's just that he has a really good person beside him. But as far as the setup of the movie, it's the same as the Mad Max movies, particularly the last 2 Mad Max movies. He's on his own, he's drifting, he's lost everything. He wants to just get out of Dodge, but he meets some people who need his help. He don't want to help. They bargain with him to get him to help, and then he reluctantly helps, but then of course gets close to the people, helps him out, and then once everything is said and done, he's out of there. That's what happened in Road Warrior, that's what happened Beyond Thunderdome, and that's what happens in this. It's just this time there's a person along the way, Charlize Theron, Furiosa, who's just as awesome. It's not the same as, you know, going to see a movie about Transformers, but most of the movie is starring Shia LaBeouf, or going to see a movie about Ninja Turtles, but most of the movie is April O'Neil. The Smurfs, and most of the time it's Neil Patrick Harris. But that being said, Charlize Theron is amazing in this movie. I am not lying. God dang! Charlize Theron! Damn! You rock this movie. Oh my gosh, you are amazing. Shave your head more often. Jeez, dang, she's amazing in this movie. But Max is good too. Max is good too. So if you want a badass dude, you got it. If you want a badass chick, you got it. If you want action, you got it. If you want explosions, you got it. Bad guys, you got it. Racing, you got it. This movie has everything. If you want hot chicks, you get that too. They are saving these women, the breeders that this evil man, Immortal Joe, has. He's basically like the leader of a religious cult. He has access to water. He's got access to gas. He's got access to food. So everybody follows him. They paint themselves white. When they want to do something for Immortal Joe, they like spray paint this chrome on their face, on their mouths, like spray on grills, because he's like, I will give you what you need. This time I'm Bane, Tom Hardy. I got a mask on my face. I'm Immortal Joe. I'm gonna give you the water and the gasoline. He doesn't sound like that in the movie, I promise. I'm sorry, maybe it's just because I just watched this on Netflix, but the whole, hey, Immortal Joe being the leader of this cult and he has these women trapped. Did anyone else get an Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt vibe from this? Unbreakable, it's Zoe Kravitz, it's a miracle! And I never thought I'd say this, but Rosie Huntington-Whiteley. You remember the girl that replaced Megan Fox in the 3rd Transformers film? She was like some model, and Michael Bay said, I must have her. He was pretty much Immortal Joe. He was like, you will be in my movie, you will be mine. I'm Immortal Bay. I was very impressed by her. Kudos to Rosie. I take back everything I said about Dark in the Moon. No, I'm sorry. You redeemed yourself, but I'm not taking anything back. The character I kind of identify with the most is Nicholas Hoult. He plays Nux. it means nothing more to him than to have Immortal Joe recognize him and one day take him to the gates of Valhalla. There is a particular scene that I felt bad for this dude. Even with him being on the bad side, you just want to do this one thing right. You finally get the opportunity to do it. He does something wrong and you just are like, oh man, that was my one chance and I blew it. So much fun, nonstop. Can't say enough good things about this movie, but it's a Black Mirror review. So you know if I gotta give you the good, I gotta give you the bad. Okay, 3D, you gotta stop. I'm sorry, this was my limit. I'm cool with IMAX, I'm cool with big screen, but the 3D gimmick has got to go. This movie is going so good, I'm enjoying myself, and then there's just one little mask or one little guy running across or one little guitar or just something that just is shooting directly at the screen, and I didn't watch it in 3D, but I knew, oh, this is for the 3D screening. Stop doing that. It just takes you out of the movie when things do that. Make a 3D gimmicky complete film or just make a film in a 3D environment. I'm so sick of seeing scenes in movies where I know they are deliberately there just so they can have that 3D effect. So they can say, hey, let's make people pay $3 more for 3D. If you don't need it, don't do it. It doesn't know if it's a sequel or a reboot, and I think it would have helped to decide. They explain generically who Max is in the beginning. You're gonna be able to follow it even if you know nothing about the Mad Max franchise. It's a whole new story, but yet there are times that's kind of referencing something that happened in earlier Mad Max films, but you don't really get too much detail to it. The biggest part of that are these flashbacks. There's time when Max has these just weird flashbacks where something happened in the past. You can leave it to interpretation. If you've seen some of those earlier films, you might have a better understanding of what that's trying to reference. So I think if they would have just decided if it was a sequel, decided it was a reboot, and just gave some kind of context to some of those things, that would have just made it absolutely perfect. And now for the nerdy. Immortal Joe, the main bad guy in this film, is played by the same actor who played Toe Cutter, the main bad guy, in the very first Mad Max film from over 30 years ago. That is an amazing thing. And obviously the director, George Miller, has been with Mad Max since the beginning. But did you know that George Miller was also the director of Babe, Pig in the City and the Happy Feet movies? Now the next time they do a Mad Max film, I just want a pig on a motorcycle, like a talking pig with a punk mohawk just going, I'm gonna get you, Max, la la la. And then in the back is just a penguin dancing. Okay, I have to address criticism on the internet of what is this movie trying to convey? Is it trying to teach us something, to preach something, to blah? It's a movie. Enjoy the movie for what it is. It's fun. Are there some thematic elements that you can apply to real life? Sure. What movie doesn't have that? Soul Plane. It is just a movie to enjoy, and I enjoyed it. Man, I can't recommend this movie enough. Mad Max cannot be beat. Well, except by a female a cappella group. Gangs can't stop them, cars can't stop them, guns can't stop them, a cappella singing 90s hip-hop jams. Too much for Max. Let me know what you thought of Mad Max Fury Road. I love you like a play cousin. I'm Audi 5000.